Okay, so in this section, we are going over lines, vertical lines, perpendicular lines, angle relationships, the different vocabulary words for the angle relationships. So here's the guide that I give. Here you see vertical lines are when two lines intersect. They make a perfect X, right? It's not like a cricket X like that. You know, it's a perfect X, which makes vertical angles. Vertical angles are always equal. So if this is 110, then this is 110. And these are supplementary angles, meaning they make 180 together. So then that would be 70. And if that's 70, this is 70. So altogether, this is 360. Perpendicular lines make a perfect T. They make 90-degree angles all the way around, known as right angles. Parallel lines are just straight lines, which are 180. And so these are the different angle relationships here. When you have two parallel lines, a transversal crosses through them, creating 8 angles. These angles form different relationships. You have your exterior angles, like the exterior of the car, they're on the outside. You have your interior angles, which are on the inside. And alternate exterior angles lay on opposite sides of the transversal. They are congruent. So if this is 60, then this is 60. And then this would be 120 because together these are supplementary. They make 180. And this would also be 120. Alternate interior angles are also the same. Remember, vertical angles are the same. Alternate interior angles are the same. So you can see by just knowing one thing, I can fill this entire thing out. Alternate interior angles are the same. Vertical angles are the same. If they're next to each other, making a straight line, they're supplementary. Corresponding angles is one of the more trickier relationships for learners. It's when you have one angle here on the outside and one on the inside. They're not right next to each other. They are called corresponding angles and they are congruent. So if this is 120, this is 120. Consecutive interior angles are when they're right next to each other, making 180 degrees together. And so these are the different angle relationships. So let's practice a little bit on Khan Academy. So you should know all of these key terms: supplementary, complementary, vertical. Complementary is when angles make 90 degrees together. Triangles equal total of 180. So let's actually just go to quiz 1 for right now. Okay, so these are across from each other. They're vertical. These are not across from each other, right? I mean, they are, but they do not make a perfect X. This one's actually greater than this one. So X is greater than 125. These make 180 together. They are called supplementary angles. So you can do 180 minus 41 to find the missing angle when you're unsure. These here, this is greater than 43. And these here are just next to each other. They're technically adjacent angles, but in this case, they're none of the above because they're not vertical. They do not make 90 degrees together, right? They do not form a right angle. Never assume. You'll know if something forms a right angle. They will indicate it by doing that little box. And these are not forming a straight line together, so they're not supplementary. And so you definitely want to practice finding missing angles and learning how to set up equations. So here, if I added these together, they would equal 180, right? They're supplementary. Here, these all together are supplementary angles. You can see here, these make a straight line, half a circle. And so 180 minus 80 minus 60 gets us 40 degrees. And so angle X is 40 degrees. So once you learn the relationships, finding missing angles is very simple. Here, these are across from each other. They are vertical. They are the same. These together, you see the box, they make 90 degrees. You add them together, they make 90 degrees. Okay, so these are vertical angles, right? And sometimes you have to kind of train your eye in geometry to see what you're looking at. So this here, this angle here, sorry, I drew that kind of cricket, is vertical to this one here. So if that is 160, if this is 160, this is 160, and then these are also vertical to each other. And so 160 minus 115 gets us this angle here, which is 45, because remember, this is 160. It's the same as the angle across from it. And so that missing piece there is 45 degrees. The last part of this unit is going over some more angle relationships. These are consecutive interior angles. They're next to each other. They make 180. And so angle X is 224 degrees. Sorry, I did that math wrong. 180 minus 44 is 136. I don't know what I put in my calculator. Triangles always equal 180. We'll learn more about triangles next time, but this is an isosceles triangle because two sides are the same, at least two sides. And so altogether, triangles equal 180. So if this is 58 degrees, that means the two bottom angles must equal 122 together. And since the base angles of isosceles triangles are the same, if these equal 122 together, then this has to be 61 and this is 61. So that means angle X is 61 degrees. Okay, next one. It's very easy. Triangles are 180, so just find the missing angle, 82. These are a little trickier to do. This is towards the end of the unit. I recommend you go through each individual quiz to practice. And when you get to the end of the unit, these are, of course, more trickier. Well, first things first, you have two parallel lines and a transversal. Alternate interior angles are congruent. And so you also have a triangle here. This triangle equals 180 because triangles always equal 180. It doesn't matter what type of triangle it is. So if this is 29 degrees, this is 29 degrees because alternate interior angles are congruent. And here we have another isosceles triangles. The base angles are the same. We had one just like this. This was 58 because altogether triangles equal 180. So this is the angle relationships unit on Khan Academy. I recommend you practice it by going through these individual quizzes, just making sure you know all the vocabulary from the guide that I gave you. Want to know all these vocabulary words. You want to know how to find missing angles. You want to know how to name the angle relationships. You should know what supplementary, complementary. You should know what that is. And so good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.